Today, no other place to start than with Memphis football's barn burner against North Texas on wrestling night, no less. A Royal Rumble between two 5-1 teams. 9-play opening drive capped off by Seth Hennigan, 4-yard dash, puts the Tigers up 7-0. But the Mean Green, they laugh at 9 plays. They only need one. DT Sheffield, 75 yards to the house, all the way down the sideline. North Texas going to score touchdowns on their opening 3 drives to take a 21-14 lead. But then the Tigers D starts figuring it out. They get stops on the next 5 possessions, including that one on 4th down, and then it becomes the Mario Anderson Jr. show. Only needs one play himself after being ejected in last week's game for spinning on an opponent. 42 yards, his second touchdown of the night. At that point, Tigers take a 28-24 lead at the half, but the shootout continues in the second half. 2 teams trading touchdowns again. Chandler Morris to Sheffield again, and then Hennigan, 62 yards to Demir Blankumsey, who had a resurgence in recent weeks. But Super Mario scores 4 touchdowns in this one to tie a program record of rushing touchdowns in a game, led Memphis to a 52-44 win over North Texas, who had one final chance, but Chandler Martin, the defensive captain, was there to stop it. Memphis moved to 6-1 on the season, their first 6-1 start since 2019, and they officially become bowl eligible for the 11th year in a row.
I can't do nothing without the 5 guys up front. I feel like those guys, they work hard day in and day out for the unseen hours that we have at practice that no one else sees. They create a lot of lanes for us. They pass protect very well, and you know they starting to. It's a new group of guys in that front 5. You know, this is the first year that all of them has played on the same line together. So just how quickly they've came together to be able to help produce for this team. You know, I'm just excited to run behind those guys and let them lead the way, to be honest.
And to go to 11 straight bowl games, that's a great thing, right? And I don't want to downplay that at all. But what's even better is that's our minimum expectation. And so when the head coach of the football program set up here and said our minimum expectations to go to bowl games, and we knew the history of this program and what it was like, that's a great thing. And so we take a lot of pride in being able to go 11 straight years, all right? We're gonna talk about it. We're a limited company, an elite company, and that's something to be very proud of.
So shout out to the Memphis Tigers program. 11 years in a row going to a bowl game. There's only a few universities across the country who do that. You're talking about the Ohio States of the world, the Georgias of the world, teams like that. So what Ryan Silverfield has accomplished here in the early going, in his tenure really as a head coach, because he's taken them to 4 bowl games to this point, has really been impressive. Caleb, what'd you like about the win?
Well, I just want to start out by saying that as a Memphian and grew up in the city, when we would go to games for like $5.50 when I was a kid, I never would have dreamed of this. It's insane. But yeah, and I think that really just, that win over North Texas really just capped off that magical night. And I was there the whole time on the sideline. You know, those first 2 plays, pretty rough. We were talking about it before we get started today, but the defense were able to adjust and the offense really opened up. And I was really impressed with Seth Hennigan during the game. And I think that overall, not really focusing on just Rock Taylor, spreading the ball around and getting, as y'all know, Demir Blankumsey, who I have believed is the X factor, getting him going. I think it was great to see.
Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I just think for a lot of schools and a lot of programs, getting to a bowl game is the ultimate goal every single season. For Memphis, that's just not the case, and we're seeing that year in and year out. That's the bottom of what they want to achieve, and now everything is still in front of them. The AAC title game, obviously things need to go their way to make it happen, but they're still winning each week and making that possible. I think obviously Mario Anderson Jr. had an incredible performance on Saturday, and it was really impressive to see after what had happened the week before where he was ejected for spitting on another player, to see a player come back with that much vengeance. He said, you know, after the game that he always runs with a drive, always runs with a purpose, and it kind of felt from all of us that maybe there was a bit of extra motivation going into that to kind of prove to people like, hey, I made a mistake, I know I did, but look at how I've reacted and showed what I can do for this team. 4 touchdowns in one night, ties a school program rushing touchdowns in a game. Just a really impressive game from him, and an impressive response just attitude-wise from a young person.
I think it's important to note that the 4 touchdown record that he's tying is with D'Angelo Williams, who's obviously a Memphis Tigers legend. Anytime you can put your name in the same category with the D'Angelo Williams, I think you are certainly going to be in good company and proud of what you were able to accomplish. But specifically talking about Mario Anderson Jr., kudos to the coaching staff as well, right? For putting the rock in his hand. Obviously, he had the mistake that he had. And when we talked to Ryan Silverfield about that mistake the week prior, he made it very clear he got in Mario Anderson's craw about what he did and said, hey, that's not how we're going to represent this program ever. But what was really nice was they were able to give him the ball, and they just let him work. And what we've seen from him, this was his best game of the season.
183 yards.
This is not just his best game of the season. It's his best game on the FBS level. We know this is a guy who's coming from South Carolina, where he obviously was the focal point of the offense in certain aspects, at least for the run game as well. So, yeah, kudos to Tim Cramsey, the offensive coordinator. Kudos to Ryan Silverfield for allowing that to happen. But I think what we saw the most from this team is, like, we really got an explosive offense for something we've been looking for the last couple of years. We knew that Memphis was going to be a team with an offensive that was going to be an offensive juggernaut, one of the best teams in the nation last year. Looking for it this year. Got it in the Navy game, and then the next couple of weeks you're like, where is the offense? Where did it go? Only had 2 touchdowns against South Florida the week before, and then they come out and they're explosive in this game, and it was something I think made every Memphis football fan feel a little bit better, right, about where they're going this season.
Well, I can back up that with some stats.
All right, what you
so
got
if
for
you
me?
weren't
What you
impressed
got for
by
me?
what you saw overall in the game, Memphis scored 28 points in the first half, the most since North Alabama, so week 1. 235 yards in the first quarter, scored a touchdown in every quarter for the first time since week 2 against Troy, and first time Hennigan has thrown for over 300 yards since week 4 against Navy, and then, of course, Mario Anderson, 183 yards.
Yeah, shout out to Anderson. Again, 639 yards on the season so far. He's on track for 1,000 yards, and we talk a lot about what Blake Watson was able to do last year. Blake had 17 total touchdowns between rushing and receiving last year. Let's see, Mario Anderson already has 13, several on the ground, and he's got 1 through the air this year. He's going to be in that conversation of being a really good back for Memphis, especially if he, like we said, can continue to put himself in the conversation, right, with D'Angelo Williams and some of those records that he broke, although I don't think we'll see the rushing yards record quite what D. Will was able to do.